Hello, Jon Markee here, founder and CEO of MyBuilderCPA. Thanks for watching this video. We're going to talk about payroll. So payroll is riddled with misinformation and misconceptions and all kinds of problems. So if you have questions about how payroll will be impacted in a specific jurisdiction, a specific state, a specific county, I'm not your guy. We do not do all of the intricacies of payroll here at MyBuilderCPA. Instead, we find a solution that we can all agree upon, and that solution is a payroll service that will handle all of your payroll for you in your locality. If we had to review and understand all of the payroll laws and all of the different payroll tax agencies throughout all of the United States, it would be impossible. Not to mention, it's a pretty low margin service, and a lot of the mom and pop payroll providers that have existed for decades are now getting scooped up by bigger companies such as ADP because they just simply cannot compete. The margins are so small, you have to have so much volume in order to make it worth it. And don't even get me started if there's any payroll mistakes. You might be fighting with those for years to come. The other misconception around payroll comes from the net wages, the net deposit, and payroll taxes. So oftentimes when we get into bank feeds on behalf of our clients, we come across two transactions. One of them is the net pay, and one of them is the taxes. So it's really confusing because most payroll service providers kind of present this in an incorrect method. The net pay is 100% of the employee's wages, but the taxes are a combination of both the employer and the employee contributions. Those two really should not be combined in the bank feed because the employee portion is actually wages that were earned by the employee. So if you've got someone in your bank feed who is just adding those transactions, one as wage expense and one as payroll tax expense, that's probably going to be wrong. So we want to watch out for that. Whatever payroll service provider that we use, it's best if they are, cloud-based and just as digitally electronic as we are. We want there to be a seamless integration with QuickBooks because that way the journal entry gets posted correctly, and then we should be able to just match it in the bank feed instead of having to enter a journal entry on the back end or try to decipher whether or not that tax expense includes both employee and employer wages. Let's talk about payroll processing frequency. So in my professional opinion, everyone should process payroll twice per month, preferably on the 1st and the 15th. And there's so many reasons as to why. So when we're forecasting and budgeting, if we can assume that payroll will always be processed twice per month, that's going to smooth out the payroll expense throughout the year. If we process payroll every other Friday, there will be 2 months per year in which there are 3 paydays. And we always get faced with the question, why is my payroll expense so much this month? And it's simply because they were processing payroll every other week and they landed on the month where payroll was processed 3 times during that month. If you're considering making a switch in your payroll provider, please, if you can, wait until January 1st of the following year. We always come across payroll service providers who are gung-ho in getting new clients, and they assure you that they can take the reports from payroll that's already been run and integrate them into the new system. Sometimes it works, but oftentimes it does not, and then you're faced with questions from the tax agency trying to figure out what happened. It's a waste of your time. Your employees might be frustrated if their earnings are overstated on their W-2 because that means their tax liability is calculated at an amount that is too high. So if possible, try to wait until January 1st before making a switch in payroll service providers. That's not to say you have to wait until January 1st to set up your new payroll service. You can actually start setting up your payroll service anytime. I recommend, November 1st. If you know that you want to make a payroll service switch next year, sign up with the new payroll service provider, confirm that you won't be charged until you actually run payroll, and then you can invite all of your employees to get their individual records set up. They can turn on their direct deposit, and you can ensure that all of your tax IDs are entered in the system correctly so that for the first payroll in January of the following year, all you have to do is run payroll in your new payroll system. Simultaneously, you can wait for the old payroll system to issue W-2s correctly to employees. They can finish any annual filings or reconciliations that you might have under the old payroll service provider, and then you can make a seamless transition to your new payroll service provider in the new year. I also highly recommend using one that integrates both with your job software, such as Buildertrend or JobTread, and QuickBooks. So Buildertrend, for example, has an integration with QuickBooks where you can review everyone's timesheets in Buildertrend, review them, and seamlessly send them to QuickBooks at the same time. And then QuickBooks Payroll will take those hours, calculate everyone's paycheck, and process all of the direct deposit, tax payments, garnishments, anything else that might be there. So when we manage your payroll for you, we're not actually doing the payroll. We're not doing the payroll filings. We are just a liaison between you and the payroll service provider. And we're happy to take the lead with that payroll service provider. We can communicate all of your tax IDs, all of the employee information to get that set up. And then on a routine basis, we will ensure employee salaries and hours get entered into that payroll service so that everyone gets paid on time. This is also an important conversation for the types of team members that you have, whether they're W-2 or 1099. That's a whole nother conversation. We're happy to do an individual person-by-person analysis to see if they should be categorized as W-2 or 1099. I'll give you a hint. When in doubt, it's better to categorize them as W-2 and just bite the bullet and pay all of the employer payroll taxes so that you don't have to face a nasty payroll audit later on down the road. If you have any other questions about how payroll works when you work with MyBuilderCPA, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks and have a great day.